Hello there, very good afternoon and welcome to Lunchtime News on TV1. For the news first, where the people come first. I'm Martin Satyanesan. Let's start off with a look at your headlines for this afternoon.
Provincial Council Elections Act ready for amendments. President reveals during a special statement in Parliament. Resolution for domestic debt optimization cannot be challenged by the Supreme Court or any other court, Speaker says in Parliament. Compensation from 40,000 rupees onwards for crop damages caused due to arid weather. Train operations along the main and upcountry railway line limited to one track after a collision between a train and container.
On to those stories in detail. President Ranil Wickremesinghe made a special statement in Parliament today. During his statement, he outlined several factors pertaining to empowering provincial councils, implementation of several acts and other matters. President Ranil Wickremesinghe also said several concerns have arisen regarding the implementation of the 13th Amendment and provincial councils. The President said the issues must be resolved to move forward as a country. The head of the state said 13th Amendment should be implemented in a way that is compatible with the country's future. The President questioned if the nearly 550 billion rupees allocated for provincial councils is used properly, adding, however, they cannot be abolished. For the President's full statement and other updates from today's parliamentary session, you can visit News First digital platforms. Moving along, the Speaker told Parliament today that the resolution for domestic debt optimization was passed in Parliament and cannot be challenged by the Supreme Court.
That according to Article 148 of the Constitution, Parliament shall have full control over public finance. No tax, rate or any other levy shall be imposed by any local authority or any other public authority except by or under the authority of the law passed by Parliament or of any existing law. I wish to announce firstly that the Cabinet of Ministers unanimously approved domestic debt optimization program proposed by the Minister of Finance, Economic Stabilization and National Policies at a special cabinet meeting held on 28/6/2023. Afterwards, a resolution for the implementation of the domestic debt optimization to restore sovereign debt sustainability was approved by the Committee on Public Finance of the Parliament by a majority of committee members at the committee meeting held on 30th June 2023. Thereafter, as the subject matter continued, contained in the said resolution is essentially a matter for public finance. The resolution for the implementation of the domestic debt optimization to restore sovereign debt sustainability was passed by a majority vote in Parliament on 1st of July 2023 with 120 members voting in favor and 62 against. As the resolution for the implementation of the domestic debt optimization to resolve sovereign debt sustainability has been passed by Parliament on 1st/7/2023. The resolution is beyond the jurisdiction of the Supreme Court or any other court established under 178 Constitution of Sri Lanka and cannot be questioned and or reviewed and or challenged.
The operations along the upcountry and main line has been restricted to one lane following an accident between a train and a container. The Railway Control Room noted operations are yet to be fully brought back to normalcy.
Earlier this morning, a container truck travelling from Mirigama to Giri Ulla collided with a train bound from Polgahavela to Colombo. The accident resulted in the railway operations and several trains bound to Colombo Fort were delayed. The Railway Control Room noted measures are currently taken to bring back operations to normalcy.
Shifting your attention to some international news. Foreign media reported Pakistani Prime Minister Shehbaz Sharif will write to President Arif Alvi on Wednesday seeking dissolution of the National Assembly, which would bring the incumbent government's term to a marginally premature end.
Pakistan has announced that assemblies will be dissolved 3 days ahead of its mandated period, following which elections are to be held within 90 days. Addressing a ceremony in Islamabad on Tuesday, Prime Minister Shehbaz Sharif said, quote, "After completing our government's term tomorrow, I will write and send the advice to the President to dissolve the assembly and then an interim government will take over," end quote. Foreign media reported leader of the opposition in the National Assembly, Raja Riaz, said on Tuesday that he had not yet met or consulted the Premier regarding the names of the caretaker Prime Minister.
Niger's military government has rejected the latest diplomatic mission from African countries aimed at restoring constitutional order after the July 26 coup, resisting pressure from the United States and United Nations to come to the negotiating table.
Foreign media reported that the African Union planned to send a joint mission with the representatives of the UN and the West African bloc, ECOWAS, to Niger on Tuesday, but it was denied permission by the military government, which has closed Niger's airspace. Leaders of ECOWAS, or the Economic Community of West African States, are preparing for a summit on Thursday to discuss the standoff with Niger's co-generals, who defied a Sunday deadline to reinstate overthrown President Mohamed Bazoum. Meanwhile, U.S. Secretary of State Antony Blinken has said that Russia's Wagner mercenary group is taking advantage of instability in Niger. There have been suggestions the coup leaders have asked for help from Wagner, which is known to be present in the neighboring Mali. Blinken said he did not think Russia or Wagner instigated Niger's coup.
A federal judge presiding over former President Donald Trump's trial on charges of trying to overturn the 2020 election has ordered his attorneys and federal prosecutors to appear in court on Friday for a hearing to help determine how evidence can be used and shared in the case.
U.S. District Court Judge Tanya Chutkan set the hearing for Friday shortly after Trump's attorneys and members of U.S. Special Counsel Jack Smith's office had clashed in a joint court over when to schedule the proceeding. Prosecutors had said they were available all week, while Trump's lawyers had asked for a postponement until early next week. Friday's hearings comes after Trump's defense team on Monday opposed the request from prosecutors for Tanya to impose a protective order to ensure confidential evidence is not shared publicly with Trump, suggesting he could use the information to intimidate witnesses. Trump has pleaded not guilty and called the charges politically motivated.
A look back at your local news. People from several parts of Sri Lanka are currently battling to find access to clean drinking water due to the prevailing arid weather conditions in those areas.
While farmlands in the uplands of the Mahaveli Valava left bank are being destroyed, there is also no water left in the Mawara main canal, which carries water from the Udavalava reservoir. The fate of the paddy crop cultivation in Kaliapura is also in very bad condition. About 200 acres of paddy fields in Hambantota that are being nourished through the water from the Samarakon River in Hambantota has been destroyed. About 100 acres of paddy fields in Panaskala that are being nourished through the Kaharia Reservoir are also at risk.
The number of people affected by the dry weather conditions has increased to 93,171. The Disaster Management Centre said 7 districts have been affected by the arid weather conditions. The districts are Ratnapura, Trincomalee, Puttalam, Kurunegala, Jaffna, Mannar and Badulla. 28,947 families have also been affected by the drinking water crisis.
The Ministry of Agriculture said it reached a decision to provide compensation to farmers whose crops were damaged due to the dry weather conditions. Agriculture Secretary Gunadasa Samarasinghe said compensation will be provided from 40,000 rupees per acre. He added the relevant estimates are being obtained at present.
That we bring to a close this edition of Lunchtime News on TV1. For details of the stories and much more, simply log on to our website www.newsfirst.lk. For the News First, where the people come first, I'm Martin Satyan. You take care and have a great day.